Hey everyone, and welcome back at Complicated Stuff right here on the Girl Has It All channel. I'm Thomas, and I'm so stoked for today's deep dive. We are hitting episode number 10.
Ooh, 10 episodes.
To celebrate, we're tackling a question that has probably crossed all of our minds at some point. Can you really go back in time?
All right, folks, we're going to need to buckle up for this one. Get ready for some twists and turns, because today we're going beyond those daydreams about winning the lottery or fixing that awkward moment in high school.
Right.
We're diving into the actual science of time travel.
I am so ready, and luckily I've got Jenna, our resident quantum expert here, to help us untangle it all.
Hey, everyone. Excited to be here.
So, Jenna, I got to start with a pop culture classic, Back to the Future. Remember when Marty McFly almost erases himself from existence?
Oh, yeah.
By messing with his parents' meeting?
Yeah.
That's the grandfather paradox, right? It always makes time travel seem impossible.
You're hitting on a huge point right out of the gate. That paradox gets at the heart of why time travel is such a head-scratcher. But get this, there's new research that suggests even if time travel were possible, changing the past might not be.
Hold on, I thought we were diving into the science of time travel, not science fiction.
Right.
Are you telling me we might actually be able to jump into a time machine?
Well, a machine might be pushing it, but
Okay.
the concept of time travel isn't as outlandish as you might think.
Okay.
Let's talk about a physicist named Dr. Lorenzo Gavesino from Vanderbilt University. His research focuses on something called closed time-like curves, or CTCs for short.
CTCs. Okay, that sounds tense already.
Yeah, so think of a CTC like a theoretical pathway through space-time that loops back on itself. It's like a cosmic shortcut that, under the right conditions, could allow for travel to the past.
Okay, cosmic shortcuts.
Yeah.
What kind of right conditions are we talking about?
We're talking about some seriously exotic stuff here.
Okay.
Things like stable wormholes. You know those tunnels through space-time you see in sci-fi movies?
Right.
But held open by something called negative energy.
Whoa.
And before you ask, negative energy is still mostly theoretical.
So wormholes and theoretical energy. Anything else that would make a CTC possible?
There's also the idea of space-time warped by extreme gravity, like what you'd find around a black hole, or these things called cosmic strings, incredibly dense defects in space-time. If a cosmic string moved near the speed of light, it could potentially warp space-time enough to create these time loops.
Okay. Are scientists actually observing any of these CTC-forming phenomena out there?
Not exactly. Remember, these are all theoretical possibilities based on our current understanding of physics.
Right.
We haven't actually observed wormholes, negative energy, or cosmic strings behave in this way yet.
So we're still in the realm of what-ifs.
Yeah.
But let's say for the sake of argument that these CTCs do exist.
Yep.
Is that where Dr. Gavesino's research comes in?
You got it. And here's where it gets really fascinating. Dr. Gavesino's work suggests that even if we could travel back in time using a CTC, actually changing the past might be fundamentally impossible.
Wait, what? So you're telling me I could go back, but I couldn't stop myself from getting that terrible haircut in middle school?
Well, maybe you could try to stop yourself, but that's where quantum mechanics comes in, specifically the concept of entropy.
Okay.
You know how entropy generally increases over time?
I'm picturing a dropped ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Melted mess equals higher entropy, right?
Exactly. Now, here's the mind-blowing part. On a CTC, during time travel, entropy would actually decrease.
Whoa.
It's like hitting rewind on the universe. So any changes you try to make to the past would essentially be reversed as you loop back to your starting point.
So it's like the universe has some kind of cosmic rule against change in the past.
That's one way to think about it, but here's another layer. Memory formation actually depends on entropy increasing. So if you traveled on a CTC, your memories of that journey, including any changes you thought you made, would be wiped clean when you got back to your starting point.
Whoa, that is wild. It's like you'd live through this incredible adventure but have zero recollection of it.
Exactly. And this has some pretty significant implications for all those classic time travel paradoxes.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the grandfather paradox you mentioned earlier. Let's say you did go back and stop your parents from meeting.
I'd vanish, right? Poof, gone.
Maybe not.
Okay.
You wouldn't remember doing it, and the paradox would be resolved because, remember, your memories would be wiped clean on the return trip.
Jenna, my brain is already doing backflips trying to wrap my head around all of this.
Trust me, you're not alone. This is definitely some seriously complicated stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what we're here for, right? To explore these mind-blowing ideas together.
Exactly. And for all of you listening, we want to hear your thoughts. Could you handle a time travel experience where you couldn't remember any of it? mean, it's a fascinating concept, but also kind of terrifying. What's the point of going back in time if you can't remember any of it or change anything? It'd be like waking up from an incredible dream and not being able to recall a single detail.
I totally get what you're saying. There's a certain allure to the idea of rewriting history or reliving pivotal moments. But what if the true value lies in the experience itself, even if it fades from memory?
You talk about those what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of memories, but on a cosmic scale. It's a cool idea, but it also makes me wonder, are we really making choices if the outcome is always predetermined?
Ooh, now you're getting into some deep philosophical territory. It's a question that's puzzled thinkers for centuries, free will versus determinism. But let's stick with the practical side for a moment. What if, instead of focusing on changing the past, we thought about time travel as a way to gain knowledge and understanding?
Okay, yeah, I could see that. It'd be like having a front row seat to history. Imagine witnessing the signing of the Declaration of Independence or seeing dinosaurs roaming the earth firsthand.
Exactly. It wouldn't be about altering the past, but about experiencing it, absorbing those details, and gaining insights that wouldn't be possible any other way.
That does make it a lot more appealing. Still, we're talking about theoretical concepts here. We're
Yeah.
talking about manipulating space and time. It's mind-boggling. Isn't building a time machine still firmly in the realm of science fiction?
For now, yeah, it's definitely more sci-fi than reality. The technology needed to create a stable CTC, like those wormholes we talked about, is far beyond our current capabilities. We're not going to be hopping in a DeLorean and zipping back to the Jurassic period anytime soon.
That's kind of a bummer, but also a relief. Honestly, I don't know if my brain is ready for all that.
Yeah.
But okay, let's bring it back to what we do know. What's the key takeaway here, Jenna? What do you want our listeners to remember about the possibility of time travel and change in the past?
I think the biggest takeaway is that even if time travel were possible, the laws of physics, as we currently understand them, seem to work against the idea of change in events. The universe has this amazing way of preserving causality, keeping cause and effect in order.
It's like the universe is saying, look, you can observe, you can learn, but you can't mess with the timeline.
Exactly. It's fascinating, isn't it? It suggests there's a certain beauty in the forward flow of time. It allows for growth, change, and the constant unfolding of new possibilities.
So no matter how much we might regret that questionable fashion choice from our past, we're stuck with it. No time travel do-overs.
Well, maybe there's a silver lining to that. If we can't change the past, it frees us to focus on what we can control our choices and actions in the present. And that's where we create the future, right?
You know what? That's a really good point. It's a great reminder to make the most of every moment and not get too hung up on what we can't change.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe someday, far in the future, our understanding of time and the universe will have advanced to a point where these impossible ideas become reality.
Maybe we'll crack the code of time travel, learn how to manipulate those CTCs, and finally figure out how to get rid of that middle school haircut.
Oh, maybe not that specifically, but who knows what the future holds.
Okay, before we go too far down that rabbit hole,
Yeah.
I think our listeners are out there right now with their minds blown wide open.
Yeah.
So Jenna, we've talked about the theoretical physics behind time travel, but what about the psychological side of things? How do we as humans grapple with the concept of time and the possibility of altering it?
It's a great question, and one that takes us from the realm of physics to the realm of psychology.
Right.
We're wired to perceive time in a linear way, moving from past to present to future. The idea of disrupting that flow, of potentially revisiting or even changing the past, can really mess with our heads.
Totally. It's like we're so used to the idea of time as this constant, unwavering force that even thinking about messing with it can feel unsettling. It makes me wonder how our perception of time, our personal experiences, and even our memories might influence how we approach the idea of time travel.
You're spot on. Our individual experiences with time, from our earliest childhood memories to the way we anticipate and plan for the future, shape how we view the possibility of time travel. And that's something we haven't even touched on yet, the potential psychological effects of actually traveling through time.
Oh man, that's a whole other can of worms. I can only imagine the disorientation, the confusion, maybe even a sense of existential dread that could come with experiencing time in a non-linear way.
Exactly. Imagine the emotional roller coaster of witnessing historical events, potentially meeting past versions of yourself, or even coming face to face with the consequences of actions you haven't taken yet.
Wow, the more we talk about this, the more I'm realizing that time travel isn't just a scientific challenge. It's a profoundly human one. It forces us to confront our own mortality, our place in the grand scheme of things, and the very nature of reality itself.
You've hit the nail on the head. Time travel at its core isn't just about bending the laws of physics. It's about confronting the fundamental questions that have driven human curiosity and philosophical inquiry for centuries. Who are we? Where do we come from? And what is our place in the universe?
This is getting deep, Jenna. But that's what we're here for, right? To dive into the complicated stuff, the mind-bending ideas that make us question everything we thought we knew.
Exactly. And for all of you listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. How do you think time travel would affect you psychologically? Would you be brave enough to step into a time machine knowing the potential risks and the profound existential questions it might raise?
We're all about exploring these big questions together, so hit us up with your thoughts and reactions. We're live every Friday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. Pacific, right here on the Girl Has It All channel. We've covered so much ground already, from theoretical physics to philosophy and psychology, but there's one more fascinating twist I want to explore.
Oh, yeah, hit me with it.
Well, earlier you mentioned Dr. Gavesino's research on entropy and how it relates to time travel.
Yeah.
What I found truly mind-blowing is the idea that at the point of minimum entropy on a CTC causality, cause and effect, could actually break down.
Yes. That's where things get especially weird, even by quantum physics standards.
So what does that even mean? Does it mean things could just appear out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Events happening without a clear cause?
That's the basic idea. Imagine you're traveling on a CTC and suddenly something pops into existence with no logical origin, like a glitch in the Matrix.
Whoa, okay, so not just changing the past, we're talking about stuff appearing that has no connection to the timeline.
Right. These would be like random fluctuations at the point of minimum entropy, disconnected from the usual rules of cause and effect.
Okay, my brain is officially fried. But in a good way, this entire concept is both fascinating and terrifying.
I know, right? It's a lot to process, but that's what makes exploring these concepts so rewarding. It pushes us beyond our everyday understanding of reality and forces us to ask questions we may never have considered before.
And it makes you appreciate the relative stability of our non-time traveling lives.
Right.
But seriously, Jenna, this conversation has been amazing. We've gone from wormholes to entropy to the very nature of reality itself.
I agree, it's been a wild ride. And I think it highlights a crucial point. Even if we never build a time machine, exploring these ideas pushes the boundaries of science and deepens our understanding of the universe.
Absolutely. Plus, it's a lot of fun to ponder these mind-bending possibilities.
Definitely. And even though the idea of physically traveling through time seems incredibly far-fetched right now, we actually engage in a form of mental time travel all the time.
Well, I like where you're going with this. You're talking about memories, right?
Exactly. We use memories to revisit the past, to learn from our experiences, and to shape our understanding of who we are. And we use our imaginations to project ourselves into the future, to make plans, set goals, and dream big dreams.
It's like we have our own built-in time traveling abilities, but instead of manipulating space-time, we're navigating the landscapes of our own minds.
Perfectly put. And maybe that's a good place to leave our listeners today. Even though we may never physically step into a time machine, we each have the power to explore time in our own unique ways.
I love that. So as we wrap up this incredible journey into the complicated world of time travel and quantum mechanics, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Please do.
We've talked a lot about the past and the future, but ultimately what matters most is the present moment. It's where our power lies, where our choices matter, and where we create the reality we experience.
Beautifully said. So let's all make the most of this present moment. Let's embrace the unknown, explore our own internal timelines, and keep asking those big, complicated questions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And for all of you amazing listeners out there, keep those questions coming. Keep those minds curious and keep exploring the complicated stuff with us. We're live every Friday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 5:30 a.m. Pacific Time right here on the Girl Has It All channel. Don't forget to check out all the other fantastic content Girl Has It All has to offer.
Until next time, keep those minds open and remember, the future is yours to create.
See you.